Hello, HO Arizona family. This is Joshua Collier, your health and fitness expert, and today I'm going to be sharing with you about one of my absolute favorite topics, and that is sleep. It is one of my 4 essential pillars of recovery. When we talk about exercise science, we have what we call the general adaptation syndrome. This is how we describe how our bodies adapt and get stronger. When our bodies go through a stress, there's an immediate dip in our performance because our body has to repair and rebuild. And if we allow our bodies to go through that process, we will rebound back stronger than we were before. However, if we do not allow our bodies to go through that rebuilding process, we will dig ourselves deeper into a hole, and that is what we call overtraining. Overtraining can also be thought of as under recovery, and sleep is the most essential part of our recovery. I've been talking to a lot of clients who have had disturbed sleep, and the purpose of today's video is to first give us some important context and considerations about our sleep quality, about our sleep cycle, about our sleep architecture, and then we're going to look at the current research to understand things that you can do to help improve your sleep quality and your sleep duration. There are physicians who specialize in sleep disorders and sleep medicine, and the purpose of this video is not to diagnose or treat those disorders, but this is simply to look at things that you can do that have been shown to be effective in the research to improve your sleep duration and your sleep quality. So let's get started with first some important context and considerations. Most adults need 7 to 9 healthy hours of sleep each night. Not just sleep, but our quality of sleep matters. What we need to understand is that we have a sleep cycle of stages from stage 1 all the way to stage 5. Stage 1 is this interim period where we're in between consciousness and falling asleep. When we get to stage 2, this is where our body really starts to slow things down. Our brain activity is slowing, our heart rate is slowing, our brain temperature is dropping, and the body is getting ready for the restorative repair aspect of sleep. Now when we get to stages 3 and 4, these are the deepest stages of sleep. And this is really important for exercise recovery because in stages 3 and 4, our bodies will secrete HGH, or human growth hormone. This is why sleep quality matters. If you are not getting deep sleep, we're not getting the human growth hormone that signals our body to repair those muscles that we damaged during our workouts. After that, we get into stage 5. This is where we improve some cognitive function. This is very important for our brains. Brain activity actually comes back into more of a heightened state of activity. This is where dreams occur. This is where memories are stored in the brain. And our body will go up and down throughout our night in these 5 stages of sleep when we're talking about the brain activity, and we need 5+ cycles of this each night in order to get this healthy sleep. And so here's your first tip is when we look at this sleep architecture, it takes our bodies about 90 minutes to get through 1 full cycle of sleep. So if you're a napper, you want to keep it within 30 minutes and not much longer than that, or else you're going to start getting into the deeper stages of sleep. And if you wake up at stage 3 or 4 of sleep, you're going to feel groggy, you're not going to feel rested, you're going to be waking up from this area of super low brain activity, and your body's going to have to really work to get you back into gear. If you are going to nap more than 30 minutes, you're going to want to commit to a whole 90 minutes, about an hour and a half to get through at least 1 full cycle of sleep, and then wake up and continue your day after that. So what are the consequences of not getting enough sleep or not getting quality sleep? First of all, we have some hormonal changes. We have increased cortisol when this happens chronically, and cortisol is going to lead to those bad cravings of the high-fat comfort foods. It's also going to increase our muscle tension. It's going to increase our blood pressure and our heart rate. Cortisol is a stress hormone. We don't want that elevated throughout the day. We then also have changes to our ghrelin and leptin. These are gut hormones that signal our bodies when it's time to eat and when it's time to stop eating. And when we have chronic disturbed sleep, we get to a point where our bodies have more cravings and our bodies aren't signaled when it's time to stop eating, and this can lead to weight gain and other health issues. When we are sleep deprived, our brain will process everything emotionally. And this is actually shown in the research where even though consciously you can make logical decisions, your brain is perceiving everything around it in an emotional way. This is why we're irritable. This is why we're not as focused. Our brain has not gotten the restoration it needs from deep sleep in order to function at your best for the rest of the day. All right, let's get into the current research. And this is the exciting part because there are things that you can do to improve your sleep quality and your sleep duration. Now, sleep is controlled by our nervous system and our hormones, and we have certain levers that we can pull to start to influence those systems of our body. And so you'll hear me refer to sleep hygiene, just like we talk about brushing our teeth. This has to be a routine. When we are consistent and we have structure, our bodies will signal us to sleep and we're going to get better sleep and better quality sleep. But if we're sporadic and we don't have that structure, our bodies will not know when it's time to sleep and will not keep us asleep in the same way. Okay, our first article was published in 2021, and this is a study that specifically looked at environmental lighting and how it improved sleep quality in older adults. Light is one of the most important levers that you can pull to help your sleep quality. They took 21 older adults, and this was a 41-day study. For 9 of those days, these adults went through an intervention where they actually changed the lighting of their living areas to have really bright light at the beginning of the day and to slowly, gradually dim the lights down until the end of the day. In one of the groups, they actually changed the frequency of the light. So it was a very bright light that got warmer and warmer throughout the day until we got to the end of the day. Both interventions significantly improved the duration of sleep. With the group that had the warmer light as the day came to a close, not only did their duration of sleep improve, but also their quality. They had less disturbance in their sleep and they got to sleep quicker. They weren't waiting around in bed to fall asleep. So what can we take away from this study? Go outside in the morning. Getting early morning sunlight is one of the best things you can do for your sleep. I know it sounds counterintuitive because that is when you wake up, but when you get early morning sunlight, that is what sets your body's timer to get you to fall asleep at the right time at night. Also, when we get to the end of the day, we live in the most amazing state for sunsets, and that warm wavelength of light can really help to calm down your body. This is also why we should stay off our devices an hour or so before bedtime, because that blue light from your phone, it really imitates daylight and sunlight, and your body goes, oh, it is time to wake up again, and now we can't fall asleep quite as well. Okay, next article is published in 2023, and this study looked at environmental factors in the atmosphere of the bedroom. So what they did was they took 62 people, and for 14 days they followed their sleep while measuring the particulates in their room. So this is just pollution. When you look at the air quality on your phone, these are things like aerosols and chemicals that can get into our air, especially if you live in a crowded area. They looked at temperature of the room, they looked at humidity, carbon dioxide levels, air pressure, and noise. And what they found was that sleep efficiency was dose dependent and decreased with particulate matter, with temperature, with carbon dioxide levels, and with noise. I want to zoom in for a little bit on the temperature because our bodies are signaled to sleep by the ambient air around us. This is something that's really difficult here in Arizona in the summer. The optimal temperature for sleep for the human body is about 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that is pretty much impossible to get here in the summer, and my house is nowhere near that temperature, but thankfully we're getting into the cooler months. And if you can somehow get into that range, that is actually the optimal, scientifically proven range for sleep. Another great tip is to take a hot shower about an hour to 45 minutes before you go to bed. And you might think that that sounds counterintuitive because we want to cool down our bodies. Well, when you take a hot shower and artificially increase your core temperature, when you get out of the shower, your body is going to work overtime to cool itself down. It's going to slow down all of its processes. It's going to really try to undo what you just did in the shower, and it's going to start to wind down your energy level and get you ready for sleep. So what does this tell us? Structure and consistency is key for getting our bodies ready to sleep. If we have a consistent sleep hygiene routine, our bodies will know that it's time to sleep, and that consistency is going to be what helps us to get better sleep. I hope this video helped you and you found some things that you can take away and implement into your sleep routine. We will see you next time. Bye.